Hey, coming back with my top shooting guards of all time. And I forgot to mention this in my last one. If you played, like if all your footage is like in the black and white, like 12-inch tube era TV, I'm kind of biased towards your stats. So, if you were wondering why Oscar wasn't on my list, why Jerry West wasn't on my list, it's just because I like if you were to transport those guys right now and they grew up, I don't know, like if they were born in 1999 or something, at best I could see Jerry West being like Ricky Rubio with like way better shooting, right? Which isn't bad. That'd probably make a few All-Stars. But like Oscar, I know everybody would compare him to Westbrook, but I feel like Westbrook and Oscar, man, you can't. There might be like five guys in this world who's built like Westbrook, and like I'm not saying Oscar couldn't have been built like that, but come on, man, that's tough. But anyways, back to my list. At 8, I'm kind of torn like I was in the last one. I don't think this one is as tough for me, but I gotta give the honorable mention to Vince Carter. Now, career-wise, it's a pretty good career. You know, never made the finals, but Vince has played so long that somebody could have had a son or a daughter, and they could have grew up watching Vince Carter like their father did. Look at Trae Young. Look at Steph. That's how long Steph's been playing. I mean, that's how long Vince has been playing. The reason he's ranked as an honorable mention, he's really close to my age, but like his career's kind of just been. It hasn't lived up to the standard, I think. Great player, but when you look at his accomplishments, it's almost zeros across the board. He's got 8 All-Star appearances, which is great. He won the Rookie of the Year, that's great. But only 2 All-NBAs, no Finals appearances, no championships, no MVPs, no All-Defensive teams. Like, I think when I was a kid, I would have thought Vince would have at least made it to the finals, played Kobe or something. But that just wasn't the career he had. The longevity alone, though, almost puts him at 8 for me. But I can't put him over my number 8, and that's Ray Allen. Initially, when I was making this list, Ray Allen was actually under Vince. But when I was looking at the accomplishments, the numbers, Ray's basically got him beating everything, man. Ray's averaged more points per game, more rebounds. No, scratch that, sorry. More assists. He's got 2 championships, 3 appearances, 10 All-Stars, 2 All-NBAs, just like Vince. Doesn't have the Rookie of the Year Vince has, but the 2 rings he has kind of makes up for that. And I know Vince isn't the same player as he used to be, so these last 2, 3, 4 years are kind of hurting his career numbers, but Ray was playing till he was old too. Definitely not as long as Vince, but like I said, it's hard to take longevity over rings. I'm sure a lot of guys would rather play 5 years and win 1 ring than play 20 years and win no rings. You know, their bank accounts might disagree, but career-wise, everybody wants to be a champion growing up. Number 7, here's a guy who's got rings and possibly one of the best shooters ever. I'm taking him over Ray. Klay Thompson. I think Klay's a better defender than Ray. Ray, I don't think many guys can run with Ray, but Klay's like right behind him. I would say the only thing that put Klay over him is that he's still got time to go, so I'm kind of projecting. that he'll catch a ray and some stuff. And I mean, it's basically the rings. I'm not gonna lie, 3-2. You could be like, oh well, Clay had better teammates with Steph and KD, but Ray also had KG and Paul. I know at the end of their careers, but I gotta give it to Clay. And might be the top 5 shooters of all time. I'd put him at 2, honestly, behind Steph. He's almost like one of those machines that you put the football in and it shoots it like 30 yards. That's Klay Thompson, but more accurate to me, in my opinion. But ahead of Clay, and I know this makes no sense based off by like previous rankings, I gotta go with James Harden.
Can I get a playback? Okay. I wear my shirt open so you see my chest, girl. I work so hard into. Is that me?
Now, like, James has no championships, no appearances, but literally in everything else, he's got all 3 of those guys beat. Right? More points per game, more assists per game, more rebounds per game. He's got an MVP, already 8-time All-Star. He's made the All-NBA team 6 times. Like, he's been the guy since he left Oklahoma. And Vince had his time of being the guy, but it wasn't as successful as James Harden's. Clay and Ray have never. Well, Ray's had his time as being the guy, but he wasn't even. It wasn't even close to Vince, if you ask me. Well, maybe, I guess. Vince was definitely more the superstar than Ray, but James Harden, although I think he's a stat stuffer in a way, he's incredible. You can't do. Not many guys can do things he can do. And like, yeah, he bends the rule books a little bit with his dribbling and all that, but I can't really blame him for that. Like, if I went into the bank and took $20 every day and nobody said anything or noticed, then I think I would keep doing that. So, if he keeps stealing these 20-point games, 30-point games, 40-point games, I can't penalize him for that. The numbers, the accomplishment of scoring it speaks for itself. But ahead of James Harden, this guy I think is kind of close to James. Everybody says James travels. Well, everybody says this guy carries. And I gotta go with AI, Allen Iverson, the answer man.
Nice catch, boss.
The answer, your honey, is Pam out early. Pam out early.
Allen Iverson not only I think is like, I know I said Penny Hardaway might be the coolest ever, but AI is definitely right there with them. They're sitting on the chairs together. I even wrote a full paper about how Allen Iverson changed the NBA's culture, and it was great. Yeah, that part's getting cut. Allen Iverson, he's a 3-time still champion, right? When you think of AI, you don't think of his defense. And steals are kind of like deceptive because that's kind of like a team stat. But AI, he was good at it. He was good at racking up steals. I mean, to do it 3 times in a row is, I mean, not in a row, but to do it 3 times, that's pretty impressive on its own. 4-time scoring champion. AI's got a finals appearance. I know they lost, but he got there. He's got an MVP, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, and he won the Rookie of the Year. See, I know winning the Rookie of the Year is like, it's not the greatest accomplishment, but I think when you're ranking people, I think it's kind of important because that means you came in. You set the world, you set your standards early. You continued on them and you improved off of them. Some guys, if they won the Rookie of the Year, that's kind of it. Like Malcolm Brogdon, that might be it for him. Allen Iverson, he won the Rookie of the Year, went on to win an MVP, made the finals, made plenty of All-Star games, changed the culture of the NBA. He don't have no rings either, but he has carried teams to the playoffs when they had no business being there. Like everybody says LeBron's teams were bad. AI, name me like 3 players from AI Sixers. That's all I'm asking. Just 3. Iguodala, Drew Holiday, Samuel Dallenberg, whatever. Number 4, I got Reggie Miller. Now, it's hard to rank Reggie if you ask me. He did the 50-40-90 club. He's got 5 All-Star appearances, 3 All-NBAs. But like I said, it's hard to rank him because he was playing with Jordan, man. When you playing in the same time as Jordan with the same position, it's hard to get some All-NBAs. You know, it's hard to make a finals appearance. It's hard to get a championship when Michael Jordan's playing at the same time as you for basically your whole career. You know what? I think I said he didn't have finals appearance. Reggie has 1 finals appearance. That's my bad. It's my bad. But it was when he was old. You know, he didn't. And it was against the Dynasty Lakers, so that's pretty tough. You go from Mike right into Kobe. Like, you go from the Bulls dominant era right into the Lakers dominant. So, but I don't think it's brought up enough. I think Reggie has like the saddest career I can think of. Played a long time. Like I said, he lost out on All-Stars, he lost out on All-NBAs because he happened to play at the same time as Mike, at the same time as Steve Smith, at the same time as Penny, same time as John Stockton, the same time as all these great guards, right? And then on top of that, he's not been to 1 Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, not 2 Game 7s, but 3 Game 7s in the Eastern Conference Finals. Lost all 3 of them. Lost to the Knicks the first year Jordan retired. Lost to the... who was it? Lost to the Magic the next year. So the window when Mike was gone, he went to Game 7 both times and lost him. Then he took Mike to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, how close can you get without actually getting there? And then fast forward, right? And he finally makes it. And you gotta play Kobe and Shaq to win your chip. But no. Let's wash all that off. Let's wash all that off. Here's your last chance. You got a stacked team. Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Steve Jackson. I don't know if Larry was coaching, but you had a stacked team. And what happened? Malice in the freaking palace. And you still make it to the playoffs. But what are you going to do? Half your team's suspended. Half your starting 5 is suspended, I should say. I think Reggie, even though he's not a champion, he's a barbershop champion. He's as close as you can get. Then at 3, we got Dwayne Wade. Oh, and let me go back a little bit. 4, 5, and 6 was like the hardest to rank for me. You could put any of those guys in any order, and I'd be fine. I'd co-sign that. But moving on. Number 3, Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade has great numbers with 22 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists per game. Not bad. 3-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP, 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive Team. What puts D Wade above those other guys, clearly, is the rings and being the guy of his team. Like, you can say Reggie, Allen, and James, they're the guy. They might have better numbers than D Wade, but they don't have the rings. And then you got Clay and Ray, they got the rings, but they weren't the guy when they got the rings. And you can go, oh, well, LeBron was the guy when they got 2 of them. Well, he still got 1 being the guy, and that's more than the rest of these guys have. D-Wade's also a scoring champion, so he could get you buckets. He was the guy who wasn't really known as much out of Bosh, Melo, and LeBron, maybe even Darko. He came up, he went high, he got his championship, and then the injuries started hitting him. But then he teamed up with Bosh and LeBron, and they went right back up to the top. They lost one, but they bounced back, they won 2 more, and then they lost again. So 4 more finals appearances. Then LeBron left, Bosh got the blood clots, and then he kinda, I wouldn't say he was struggling, but he was in this like limbo. Like, is he still the guy? Is it time to pass it down? I think that's why he ended up leaving. And then once he left, I think he kind of realized his role. And then he had the swan. He had to like right into the sunset ending. They didn't make the playoffs. That would have been greater. But it was a good ending. So I think that solidifies D-Wade at number 3. At number 2 is Kobe Bryant.
I've been hating you too long to stop now. Retiring, and you want to be free. My hate was growing stronger as you became a habit to me. Don't make me stop. I hate you.
Kobe Bryant, like I was saying that stuff about Reggie, like he had to play at the same time as Mike. Imagine having Mike's powers, but you like, you might not necessarily reach Mike's. Aw. Kobe is forever stuck being compared to Mike. I'm just gonna tell you now, Mike's number 1. Kobe's forever stuck being compared to Mike, which isn't a bad comparison, but it must get annoying. It's almost like if you're Robin, and everyone's like, oh man, there's Robin. You see that thing Batman taught him? Or, look, there's Robin. Where's Batman? You know, that's kind of like how I feel Kobe's been treated. Kobe, 2-time scoring champion, 25 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 5 chips, 2 finals MVPs, 1 MVP, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, no defensive player of the years, but 12-time All-Defensive team. Like, come on. Those are great numbers. That might be, if he had those numbers and he played point guard, small forward, power forward, or center, that probably would put him number 1 at any of those. But, like, he had the unfortunate Michael Jordan just existed, man. And when I was making my list, and I was like, I already had you could tattoo Michael Jordan number 1 on my list probably, right? I don't know if anybody's going to pass him in my lifetime. But when I was looking at it, I was looking at scoring championships, steals, points per game, rebounds, you know, all the stuff I've been naming, right? And I wrote it all down on a piece of paper. And I highlighted the leaders in each category. I might as well have highlighted Mike's name. 10 scoring titles, 3 steal titles, 3 steals titles. There we go. Only guy who could say he did that on my list is AI. 6-time champion, nobody can say that. 6-time Finals MVP, nobody can say that. 5-time MVP, nobody can say that. Kobe passed him up in All-Stars. Kobe passed him up All-NBA. Kobe also played longer, so that kind of, answers itself. Ain't nobody on this list. I don't even know if a shooting guard has ever won Defensive Player of the Year, unless you count Sidney Moncrief as a shooting guard. Is he a shooting guard? No, not Sidney Moncrief. Is it Sidney Moncrief? Whoever it was. 9 all defensive teams. Kobe got 12, and he won the Rookie of the Year. Mike came in, set the standard, and rose up the roof. If there was a glass ceiling, he shattered it and then built a house on top of the glass ceiling. That's how high Mike raised the limits, and that's why he's number 1 on my list.
Nice shot.
Let's see what you can do now.
Let's go, man.
Don't smile, kid.
How much you want? All day.
Oh, gotta stay down on that.
I got that.
You got what? That's a youngster for you.
Just when you thought it was safe to come outside.
Bet you won't score again. I won't score again? Hey, like that rainbow. We're not done. Excuse me.
Had enough?
Well, look here. Sucker. You reach, I teach you.
We'll see.
Lesson just started.
Come on.
That's ugly.
Could have done.
You should have done.
Hey, Mike.
What?
Who's got next?
Get your young butt out there.